Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is truth. Today is October the 1st, 2023. For me in my house, it is currently a Sabbath day. It is the blowing of the trumpets. I know some of you may have kept it at other times, and I have no disagreement with that. We will all know exactly what the time is and what's what when that time is right. Provided that we understand that it is to be kept and it's to be observed, I'm good with that. Now, the title of today's lesson is This the Man? Once again, the title of today's lesson is This the Man? Once again, brace yourselves, tighten up your jaws, do not turn to the left or to the right, or you will get hit in the mouth. We are to walk the straight and narrow way of the Most High's commandments. Once again, peace and Yah bless to the children of Israel scattered to the four corners of the earth, and the stranger that is of a contrite spirit. Now, clearly, we see that there are evils in the earth being perpetuated by a certain type of people or a certain group of people. Our people in times past has been fearful to point out the evildoers. And in many cases, our men will not point out the evildoers, for they themselves are evildoers. But as we turn to the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts, and as we start walking in righteousness, the Most High will strengthen us against our enemies, to where any evil in the midst of us will be intolerable. We will not tolerate it. We will point it out. We will no longer play stupid with our oppressors. We will no longer shield the evil man from getting his just deserts. In other words, there will not be an evildoer in the midst of us doing evil, and we are aware of it and won't say anything and won't do anything and will not hand out rightful judgment or righteous judgment. So therefore, as we enter this great awakening of righteousness, and as the men of Israel stands up and teach the earth what righteousness is, and people start to turn to righteousness, the evildoer will not have a place to hide, because he will be brought forth, and all of his wickedness will be shown in his face. And not only that, he will be repaid to his face, but his nakedness shall be uncovered. Therefore, that which he is doing in the dark, that's evil, will be brought to light. His parents are going to bring this forth. His children are going to expose his wickedness. His wife may expose his wickedness, etc. But those who are in the know will bring forth that man's evil way before him, and he will certainly be dealt with. Now we will start off, this will be a segment / lesson where I will be talking to you that way I can make this thing plain and common everyday English. We will start off reading Deuteronomy chapter 32, and we will read verse 26. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 26. And it reads, I said I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. So this is the Most High speaking, stating that he would scatter the children of Israel to the four corners. And it would cause the remembrance of them who? Of the children of Israel. He would cause that to cease from among men. Men who? Men of the children of Israel will no longer remember that we are the children of Israel, because we would be pining away in these many nations, and we will take on the ways and the customs of the heathen, to where we would totally let go of all that we have known pertaining to the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. Also, members of the other families of the earth will also forget or cease to remember who we are or who we were. And thus, this is why the book of remembrance was written, that those who have forgotten may be called to remembrance. And the reason for a channel such as this, and the many other brothers on YouTube who are doing good work to cause this great nation to come to remembrance, that they may go into the book of remembrance, and that they may read, that they may be able to see clearly who they are, what we have done, who our God is, and what is necessary for us to be delivered from this mess that we are in. So the nations have forgotten that we are the children of Israel, that we are the sons and daughters of the Most High. We are the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so therefore, our treatment has been foul in these nations via the curse that we have endured. Now, let's go ahead and turn to Isaiah chapter 60, verse 1 through 3. Isaiah chapter 60. I will read verse 1 through 3. All of Isaiah chapter 60 is important for effect, but I've read that many times in times past. But for this lesson, is this the man? We're going to cover 1 through 3. And Isaiah chapter 60, verse 1 reads, Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of Yah is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yah shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. So what is this speaking to? Arise and shine, for thy light is come. What is thy light? The commandments, and the returning thereto. So therefore, we are in that space in time where the Most High is waking us up from the dusk. Ezekiel chapter 37. We are to rise and shine. Our light has come. What is that light? That law, that commandment, the Most High pouring out his Spirit upon us, putting his laws back into our hearts, causing us to turn back to this book of remembrance, that we may be able to put the pieces together to see what has happened to us, that we may better understand or gain an understanding of our current circumstances and how all of this came about. It states in verse 2, For behold, darkness shall cover the earth. All right, what is darkness? Darkness is a state of lacking light. When you lack light, you have no idea where you're going. Darkness is also a state of confusion. And lies are used to confuse. So if you are in a state of darkness, the Most High said the earth is in gross darkness. In other words, they are in extreme ignorance, lack of knowledge, lack of light, lack of law, lack of the Most High's commandments. This is the entire earth. And gross darkness the people. So the different families of the earth are in darkness. Why? Because the children of Israel, who were given the light, the law, to bring it forth to the other families of the earth, have neglected our post. And we have turned our backs on the Most High. We have taken his laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts, balled it up, chucked it behind our back, and said, we're not going to do it. We would rather go and be like the other nations. So therefore, the people of the earth, the families of the earth, are in peril as well. For those who had the light did not bring the light forth to the peoples of the earth. Therefore, the earth remains in gross darkness. Now, it says the latter part of verse 2, But Yah shall arise upon thee, how so, pouring out his Spirit upon us. This is what you're bearing witness to with all the men of Israel standing up in their lot and teaching this law to the children of Israel, and teaching it to those of the strangers of the nations that are of a contrite spirit. So the Most High has poured out his Spirit upon us, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. Many of our people, when they come to these channels, whether it be the stranger or it be the children of Israel, they understand that when they're looking at some of these videos, that they're hearing something that's entirely different, something that's entirely refreshing to them, something that energizes them, something that resonates with them. And when you hear the truth, you know it and you cleave onto it. And when the evildoer hears the truth, it upsets him. Verse 3, And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, meaning many of the other nations are going to come to these commandments. They're going to come to the light that we're holding before us, which is that law. And they will cleave to the children of Israel, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. Like stars, as we rise up and we shed the light, many will come out of that dark state that dark state of mind, being in that gross darkness, that state of ignorance, that state of confusion, that state of not knowing. As we bring forth the light, those of the nations will finally be able to put two and two together to see what has happened and what is going on. And they also will be brought to remembrance, that they will also change their ways. Now, we see where the children of Israel has been brought to remembrance. We're standing up in our lot and we're teaching this law to the children of Israel and to the nations. Many of the peoples that are of the many nations other than the house of Israel are listening to this. A teacher has no idea how far his influence goes or where it stops. So when we're speaking to all the inhabitants of the earth, primarily to the children of Israel, because unless the children of Israel comes awake, nothing happens. So our message is delivered to the children of Israel first. For as they become awake, that light will shine to the Gentiles. And that is how the Gentiles, or the nations that are not of the children of Israel, are not of the bloodline of Isaac, those people will then come to our light. The light is the Most High's light. That is his law, statutes, judgments, and precepts. So we're seeing the awakening of the children of Israel, and we are shining that light. Now, what will happen next is the Gentiles coming to our light, them coming to the understanding of who they are, them coming to the understanding of who we are, them coming to the understanding of who the creator of the entire earth is. This is the next sequence of events that we will see. This gross darkness to people, this gross ignorance in the midst of our people. It has happened to the children of Israel, and it has also happened to the nations, that they have totally forgotten who we are, and they have, some of them, forgotten who they are as pertaining to the fact that they are of one family. Here are just a few examples of that. Look at the contention between India and Pakistan. This is all one people. There's no such thing as a Pakistan. They are all Indians, every last one of them. But yet, the ignorance in the midst of these people based on religious differences would cause an Indian, a man from India, to go kill a man from Pakistan, killing his own brother. India has had a history with the European nations that's not good. They have exploited them and done all manner of foul to India. And the British finally gave them their independence. But once they did that, the Indian man as a collective has been destroyed, or was destroyed. And so now the Indian are actually trying to make themselves as white as possible, buying creams and trying to be as white as possible. Totally have forgotten what the people that they are trying to look like has done to them throughout history. So now the same Indian man is going to turn to the same European man that has abused him and exploited him, and will purchase weapons from this European man in order to pick up these weapons and kill his brother in quote unquote Pakistan. Keep in mind, these are all Indian people. So when these people begin to come to the light and come to an understanding, then you will see brother and brother embrace. And they will no longer have the division of an India and a Pakistan. They will come to the understanding that they are one people. But right now, they are in gross darkness, total ignorance. Another example of this would be South Korea, North Korea. These are all one people. The European could care less about a Korean, whether he be North Korean or South Korean. They hate them, can't stand them. But will use their land in order to put their military bases there that they can better strike at other people. Now, the South Korean, he is so stupid, he is lined up with his enemies, the European, and would house the European on his land, that he and the European can be in unison, they can be in confederate, that he may be able to kill his brother in the north. This is the ignorance of the peoples of the earth. They have totally forgotten and need to be brought to remembrance that the fact that the man that you have partnered up with hates you. The man that you have partnered up with will kill you as well as your brother. He has no good intentions towards you or towards your land, towards your people, or towards your children. And the people of Korea are trying, some of them, these Asians, are trying to have surgeries to make their eyes look white and their face look white, etc. They have totally forgotten the history of what the Europeans have done to them in that peninsula. And so therefore, they are housing their enemies on their own land, buying weapons from their enemies in order to kill their own brother. Now, this is ignorance to the highest order. Now you have the Taiwan and Chinese conflict. Taiwan, Chinese, and China, Hong Kong, and China. The British have not too long returned Hong Kong back onto China. How do you give a man back his own land? Imagine that. And you have Chinese people who will actually side with Europeans against their fellow Chinese people. Somehow they feel as though the European has their best interest at heart than their own brother does. And it's the same thing in Taiwan. The people in Taiwan are nothing but Chinese people. But somehow the Taiwanese, who is nothing but a Chinese man, has the audacity, or he's crazy enough to think that somehow this European, who means him absolutely no good, have done all types of atrocities against his people. Somehow he feels as though the Taiwanese Chinese man feels as though the European has his best interests at heart against the heartline or the heartland of China. You're all Chinese. You're all one family. You're all brothers. How could you side with your enemy and buy weapons from your enemies in order to kill your own brother? That you may think that the people that have done all types of manner of foul to you in times past, somehow you are now in allegiance with them against your own brother. Once again, these are but 3 examples of the ignorance of some of the families of the earth. This same ignorance has been in the midst of the children of Israel. So what we have gone through, other nations are going through that same darkness, because the whole earth was placed in this state of darkness, this state of ignorance, this state of confusion. How so? By lies. There's a certain group of people on the earth that are perpetuating lies in the midst of people, causing confusion, causing disarray, causing contention in the midst of families. And so as this great awakening comes to it, we have it to where there's a separation and splitting of all of these different families. We know the house of Israel has been split to the north and the south. North don't like the south, south don't like the north. You go in these many nations where we live, though we're the same people, jokers on the east side can't stand the jokers on the west side. So the same contention we're seeing is the splitting of these many different families, not only in the house of Israel, but in the many families of the earth. Why? Because the earth is in gross darkness. However, as we now come to this great light, things are going to change. There will be no I hate the brothers on the east side and the brothers on the west side hate me. There will be none of that. There will be no, hey, I don't like these Afro-Latinos and these Afro-Latinos don't like me. The Black Americans don't like the Caribbean blacks, and the blacks from Africa don't like the Caribbean blacks, and the blacks from America don't like the African blacks. There will be none of these contentions, these internal conflicts within these families. Now, we know certainly that all people that's melanated, that has the appearance of myself, they are not all Israelites. However, what we can clearly see is that we are brothers in the struggle against a particular people who has done us harm. And we have been fearful in pointing out the wicked man. So when we say, is this the man? That's a question mark, as if we are confused as to who is doing these evils to us. We know clearly it's the Most High, but we also know clearly these are individuals that's doing it. Nations, when the Most High does dole out punishment, It is doled out to the entire nation. There's no one man trying to go hide someplace or all of a sudden he seems to want to separate himself from his nation. The whole nation pays. The whole of Israel paid for our evils, and all these other nations that have done evil unto us, they will also pay as a collective. So the awakening has begun, where the children of Israel are shining their light. We are coming before the people, namely the children of Israel, and we're showing them their sins. We're showing them their errors. We're showing them their evils before their face. Many of them can't stand it, will turn the channel, run and hide, because they have been indoctrinated into the ways of the wicked man. However, there are those of the children of Israel who will hear this word, will hear where they have done violence to the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts, and will have sorrow of heart. And they will turn back with their whole heart and their whole soul, for they are of a contrite spirit, and they will do that which is right once they have been clearly taught where they have been wrong and where they have been in error. And so will people of the nations. There will be those who will hear this word and absolutely hate it and will refuse to do it, will refuse to turn back to the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts, absolutely will refuse to serve him. But there are those who will be of a contrite spirit that will turn back and do that which is right in the sight of the Most High. So now we have the awakening of Israel, which is a good thing. And all the other nations are listening to what we are saying. They must, because in a room that's filled with darkness, when a man shines that light, everyone in that room will see. There's no choice. You would like to know, where is this light coming from? You've been in a room of darkness for so long. And this is what's happening on the face of the earth. The brightness of our rising. We will rise up as we shine that light. So here we are, shining that light in the midst of all the people, that they may see clearly what's going on, have an understanding of the state of ignorance that they have been in, and that they may be given a chance to convert and be healed and turn back onto the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. The people of the nations, as they are brought to remembrance and they begin to understand what these people have done to them, they will then be brought to remembrance, and they will boldly proclaim, is this the man that has caused the earth to tremble? In other words, is this the man that has tormented the people of the earth? Is this the man that is killing the animals of the earth? Is this the man that's poisoning the seas of the earth? Is this the man that's making the bombs and dropping it upon nations that have done no harm unto him? Is this the man that's taking the Most High's animals and experimenting with them, taking the plants and experimenting with them? Is this the man that's cutting down the forest, destroying the ecosystems, making weapons of mass destruction by which to kill people by the millions or the hundreds of thousands? Is this the man that has tormented the families of the earth? Is this the man that has brought forth lies and falsehood and have taught and done all things, all manner of things, contrary to the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts? Is this the man that is in total opposition to righteousness? Indeed, this is the man. And so now this is what we will see in the midst of the nations, where they will stand up and say clearly, this is the man. There's no doubt, for we have borne witness to what he has done and what he is doing currently. Our parents and our grandparents have all bared the brunt of the blow of this man. Not only that, the earth has borne the blow of this man, the forest, the trees, the rivers, the birds, the animals, everything, for his destructive and wicked ways, with absolutely no regard to the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. So you will see the many nations start to turn their backs on this man. They will withdraw their hands from doing business with him. They will withdraw their hands from following his lead. All his ways are wicked, And as they turn unto righteousness, they will turn away from him. Not only from him, they will turn away from his children. For the wicked man and his children shall be removed from the face of the earth. Simple as that. So we're seeing the nations turn away. They're turning away from evil. And we will see as they turn away from evil that they will turn to righteousness. Once you do that, you're turning to the Most High, and you're turning to his laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. In so doing, you're also going to turn to his people. So as these nations and their leaders begin to hear this word, they are listening, they're taking notes, they're going into these scrolls, and they're looking over historical records to see if what they're hearing is indeed true. And once they come to the realization that it is, then the Most High will put a spirit upon them and move them. For we're going to see some surprising things out of the leaders of these nations. And none of these things will be accidental. The hearts of the people will seek righteousness. The hearts of some of the leaders of these nations will seek righteousness. And you're going to see people stand up and speak on the behalf of the children of Israel. I've seen a video here that was shocking. I've seen a man from the nation of Guyana. Never heard of this man before. Indian man. And he was speaking of the reparations that are due for those in his country who were enslaved. We know certainly that the call for reparations have gone out from this nation. We have blown the shofar from here to where all the other nations that has been part of enslaving the children of Israel and working them without wages, all these other nations have been paying attention to what's going on here, for this is headquarters of these nations. So they knew that it would come to their shores. For what is said here will awaken the children of Israel throughout the diaspora. And what I expect is that the wicked man who knows not righteousness, he will refuse to pay. He will not pay. And it is going to be that he will not pay because his money won't do it. His currency won't do it. The blood that's been spilled upon the earth is entirely too much. And what is required is his life, not his money. So they're going to double down by saying no. These European powers, England, Spain, Portugal, France, Russia, Britain, United States, etc., etc. You know these Christian, European, Roman nations. You know them. They're all in cahoots against you, O man and woman of Israel, and they have always been your enemies and your tormentors. We know clearly this is the man. Not is this the man, there's no question. We clearly understand who has done these things to us. But do understand, it is the Most High that sent them, and they will refuse to pay. Not only that, they will come against you. And this is when the Most High will rise up against them in your defense. And so therefore, we've got some things to look forward to, for they will refuse to pay. The man know not righteousness, he knows not equity, and he can care less. So as these people turn, you're going to see some of their leaders. I was just speaking of that leader from Guyana, apparently the president, that was speaking on the behalf of slavery and being for reparations. Keep in mind, this man is an Indian as far as I can see. And Indians and Israelites in that nation, along with all of the other Caribbean nations, there is acrimony in the midst of them. There is contention in the midst of them. They can't stand a quote unquote black person, and black people really don't like them. It's always been that way. There have always been race riots between the East Indian and the quote unquote Afro whatever, Afro-Barbadian, Guyanese, Afro-Brazilian, etc. There's always been contention with the Indian. The Indian has never shown any favor to them. So to hear an Indian man stand up and speak on the behalf of Africans is pretty much what he's doing, or on the behalf of the children of Israel, it's shocking, but we are expecting many of these leaders to come forth and speak on the behalf of the children of Israel, because our light has come. It is shining to all the leaders of the earth and to the peoples of the earth. They are hearing this, and they're beginning to get a sense of what's right and what is wrong, what is righteous and what is wicked. And some leaders and their nations will turn to that which is righteous. And so you will see them speaking up on the behalf of the children of Israel. They will be speaking up on the behalf of righteousness, and they will start taking a hold of the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. We're seeing now in Africa where the African nations and some of its leaders are also making a strong demand for reparations. This is the children of Israel raising up a shout against our enemies, and this shout will vex them. It will make them angry. But the Most High is hearing us cry out for justice. And if we're walking in his law, statutes, judgments, and precepts, we're calling upon him, keeping his holy days and his feast days. The Most High said he will hear and he will heal. So provided we are walking in these laws, crying out to him, facing Jerusalem in the many nations of our captivity, then the Most High is going to hear us, and he's going to come to our aid. And when the Most High comes to our aid, all those who have been doing us harm are going to be destroyed. It's going to be something that's beyond your imagination. We're seeing the Most High sending his floods right now. He's sending his rains, etc. He's sending the winds. And this is one way to take a nation and literally to destroy them financially. You can't fight the wind. You can't shoot it. You can't blow up the waters when he sends the floods. Okay, when he sends the locusts for the famine, you can't just kill them. These are the Most High's armies. You can't fight that. And so we will see where the Most High will destroy these nations to where they will come before you humble. For our enemies are arrogant. They are pompous. They feel as though what they're doing to us could never happen to them. And it will be quite a surprise and quite shocking, devastating when they find themselves rocking in the same boat with us. For they have always felt as though they could never be in a position as low as us, as low as we are, for we have always been beneath them. So it is shocking for many of the nations to go into the book and to read that the children of Israel is above all nations, a special people, above all the people on the face of the earth. They will read that and can't stand it. For they have always been fed the lies by their fathers that they are the people of God, white is right, and everything else. We all know the lies that they have been told. And it's very shocking to them, devastating to them, crushing to them, for them to go into the scrolls and read the words of the prophets and realize, well, this is not even talking about me. They can't stand that. So this awakening does a lot of things. It takes those who have been walking in darkness, brings them towards the light. It takes those who have been told lies. Now you're being told the truth. Now you have to make a decision on which way you will walk. Will you continue to walk in the path of lies, which is a path towards your own destruction and that of your children? Or you say, you know what? I see the light shining in this direction. I'm going to take this path rather than walk down this dark, slippery slope, which will certainly lead to my death. So as the African nations are calling for reparations, and we see the African leaders are kicking out the European that has murdered and slaughtered them, stolen their substance, removing them from their lands. This is a very interesting dynamic, because all of this is happening with the nations in the area of Negro land, where all of the quote unquote Jews, as someone may want to call them, that were shipped out of Israel and moved into these different areas of Africa on the west coast of Africa. So what I'm saying is a lot of these people in those areas are our people. So as we see them rise up, we will join them in their fight. We will join them in their cry against wickedness. And even if some of them may not be of our people via genetics, then we certainly are brothers in the fact that the same man that have murdered, slaughtered, and enslaved them have done it to us. So therefore, we are brothers in the cry out unto the Most High Yah for righteousness based on what these European powers, these Christian Roman nations have done to us throughout the entire earth. So as we look at this, many of these nations in Africa, in the Caribbean, in Central, South, and Latin America, in America, Canada, Australia, England, and everywhere else, they're listening to these videos. The Israelites are listening to them, and the Europeans are listening to them. And a lot of this is frightening to them, and it should be. For if you have wronged the Most High's people, there's chapters in here where the Most High speaks to you directly, so you know exactly what he's going to do to you. But the Most High is righteous in his ways. As we have been punished for walking contrary to his law, so will you be punished for walking contrary to his law. We will not altogether go unpunished as Israelites, so you better believe that you not being an Israelite, you being a stranger, you get punished too. So the Most High is righteous in the doling out of his punishments. So an interesting dynamic is being developed here in these West African nations. These nations formerly known as Negro land, where the house of Israel was shipped prior to being shipped to the quote-unquote New World. They have tried to kill the young brother in Nigeria that has actually kicked out the sellouts. So now you're seeing where our people are rising up against all those who are light and treacherous persons in the midst of us. The light and treacherous man has been getting away with what he's been doing for far too long. So now, as righteousness become the thing of the day, any man of Israel that's in the midst of us, that is a light and treacherous person, that is in cahoots with his enemies, he will be punished. He will be rooted out and punished by the people. And we will see this more and more to where the evil man will not be allowed to breathe in the midst of us. For if we allow you to remain in the midst of us, then the Most High can't come in the midst of us, because the evil man and the Most High don't go together, don't walk together. So we've got to root you out if we want the Most High to come in our spaces and deliver us. Evil man, you've got to go. You can't be tolerated. Now, what I'm looking for next, as we see these leaders condemn the wicked, these Romans, as we see the leaders of the earth condemn them, as we see the people of the earth condemn them and point out their evils, I'm looking to see where some of these leaders coming out of these western states of Africa and other parts of the earth, I'm looking to see when one of them is going to stand up and say, I'm XYZ leader of such and such a nation, and today we will proclaim a fast on this day, and we will turn back onto the Most High Yah, the strong one of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the strong one of our fathers. And we're going to turn back on this day. Let this whole nation fast, and let us all turn back onto righteousness and the commandments of the Most High. Now, when we hear that out of the mouth of one of these leaders, you already know this thing is in full effect. We're seeing them turn. We're seeing the people cry out unto the Most High. And if we cry out unto him for the injustices that's been done to us, the Most High will hear us. So there's a change coming, and it's going to start moving faster and faster as we go forward, provided that we continue to be rooted in Torah. We know clearly in Isaiah chapter 14, all of the nations are able to look at this man and say clearly, not is this the man? That would be a question as if we don't know. The Brenton Septuagint, that Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12 reads differently. It reads, this is the man that has caused the earth to tremble, that has put the people in fear, and have done all things wicked unto the Most High. So you see there where it speaks of Lucifer, son of the morning, as you read through Isaiah chapter 14. Keep in mind that Lucifer doesn't mean some angel or nothing like that. All Lucifer is the Latin word for Venus, for a bright star in the sky or a bright luminary in the sky, meaning you have come from being at the very top to now all of a sudden you're at the bottom. And this is what's being experienced and being acknowledged by a lot of the heathen. All of a sudden, now that they find themselves down in the doldrums with us, all of a sudden now it's we. We this and we that. Now they're considering themselves or counting themselves with us. And now the government's against us. I had one gentleman that was telling me how the government are against us and the government is this and the government is that. This is a European man talking to me. And I sat there and I let him finish what he had to say. And then I told him clearly, I said, look, you and I are two different people. We're not the same. I said, I want you to understand as a black man in America that the American government have made laws against me and my people here, have stripped us of our wealth, have ran medical experiments on our children, have locked up our fathers and our sons, and have flat out murdered them. Has a quote unquote justice system that shows us absolutely no justice. Have done everything to undermine our people and to strip us, and have made laws by which to do it. I said, you as a white man in America, the U.S. government have never done anything and passed any laws that's been detrimental to you and your people. So don't talk to me at all about we. There is no we. And I told him just like that, and I told him in that same tone. And he was absolutely disgusted, but there's nothing that he can do about it. You see, a lot of our enemies are accustomed to saying things that are totally false, flat out lies, and totally disingenuous. And many of our people are gutless. They'll sit there and let them say it. And in some cases, agree with them in order to keep the peace. There's no need to keep peace with a man that's not peaceable to you. And there's no need for you to allow a man to lie in your ears. And you being a righteous person, knowing what he has said is a lie, and allow him to say it and walk away without you putting him in his place. And when I told him that, he had no place to go. He was quiet. I know he doesn't like me, but I don't like him. And so we don't say much to each other. I know exactly where he stands. He knows exactly where I stand. The problem is that our people have been playing silly with him for too long. We see an evil man do evil. We don't say nothing. We let a man say something that's totally false, a falsehood and lies, and we don't say nothing. We just let it go. No, what we will do from henceforth, as righteous people, we will not allow the wicked and the unrighteous to slide. You say something that's a total lie, we're going to check you. Not only are we going to check it, we're going to check you and give you the proof of what you're saying is total falsehood. And once we do that, there's nothing you can do about it but sulk and walk away, for the Most High Spirit is upon us. But if the Most High Spirit is not upon you and you are not walking in righteousness, you don't have the gall to stand before your enemies. As a matter of fact, when you see wickedness, you turn the blind eye. You act like you don't see it. You won't speak out against it. And for this reason is why we suffer. For the Most High stated clearly that any man that turns a blind eye to wickedness, Most High said he will turn his face against that man and his house. So if you're turning a blind eye to wickedness, you're not checking these lies. Man is doing foul, stealing, robbing, you know it. You haven't said anything. And you're getting busted in your head and your family and your house going through all types of trouble. And you figuring, where's this coming from? Well, it just so happens that you are not standing up in your lot and correcting wrongdoers. Most High can't come into your space because you are not walking in righteousness and you are not correcting the wrongdoer when he does wrong. So let's keep an eye on the nations in Africa, which many of our people are there. And as these things come forth, as we shed this light, then we're going to stop this. I'm a black person from here, you're from there, and this contention between our people. We have to understand that we're in the same boat. I don't care what nation you're in. If you're in the house Negro ate better, had better clothes, and was better educated than the field Negro. End of the day, bottom line, they were both Negroes. Bottom line, they were both enslaved. Bottom line, they were both oppressed. However, at times, our people become as prideful and as boastful as their enemies, or as our enemies, to where the house Negro will find it amusing to elevate himself, to boast himself above the field Negro, as if somehow he's better. At least that's what he's thinking. But in the sight of his master, they're both useless. And this is something that our people have to understand. We are trying to magnify ourselves one against another, one country against another, trying to point out the fallacies of another nation, when the same evils are in the midst of us right here. So we have to really stop doing things and saying things that splits this nation apart. We're going to point out the wickedness here, and we're going to point out the wickedness there, and everywhere. There is no such thing as, well, somehow the black man here or the black man over there or the Israelite here or there is somehow more righteous than the other one. We're all in these spaces. We're all in these open air prison of these nations. The Most High has shipped us all here because we were all equally unrighteous in his sight. So don't make the mistake of all of a sudden, we're all in jail, the open air prison of the nations, doing time. We're being refurnished here, so to speak. Okay, we're being cleansed in these different nations. We're being rehabilitated in these nations. So if all of these things are being done to us here, we're all equally guilty. We're all criminals that have walked contrary to the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts. And we should at no time try to elevate one above the other. We should not try to magnify. That's why the Most High keeps us humble. Many of the men that come before you, some of them may want to elevate themselves above the people. And the minute they do that, the Most High is going to have them slip up. And then the people is going to realize, what you said is wrong. It's wrong. It's incorrect. Everyone wants to try to elevate themselves into a higher status than just being a regular servant of the Most High that's delivering his word to the people, that they may be given a chance to make a decision on which way that they should walk. Everyone wants to take some type of title of some kind and try to elevate themselves above the people. And the Most High humbles them once they do that. So we're to stop trying to elevate ourselves one above the other. We are actually working together as a family. Now, exactly who our Levites are, who the sons of David is, all of these things will be made plain unto us when the time is right. Right now, we are nothing but servants of the Most High, doing all that we can to bring our people to remembrance, that they may turn to the Most High with their whole heart and their whole soul, that we may be delivered from the hands of our enemies in the many captivities of the many lands in which we are in. It's really that simple. And it is an all hands on deck affair. There is no, I'm going to magnify myself against you. We're both spit in the eyes of these people. So do not side with your enemies against your brother. Your enemies mean you absolutely no good. They have nothing but ill intentions towards you, towards your brother, towards your sons and your daughters, as their fathers did. I've told you before, do not expect any type of righteousness out of an unrighteous man. A father teaches his son. So if their fathers and their great-grandfathers have been unrighteous and dealt with our fathers in an unrighteous manner, don't expect their sons to somehow become righteous. Where is he going to learn it from? His fathers certainly could not teach it to him, for they did not know it. So for us to see a change in these nations, we are going to have to teach them righteousness, for they do not know what it is. I can't help but stress that. So this is something for us to consider. We're looking to see exactly what the nations will do. We're looking to see exactly as they kick this European man out of these Francophone nations and kick the rest of them out, kick the South African out, the Afrikaners and everyone else. Take all of these individuals and kick them out of your land. The land mourns, for they're walking on it. For they mean you no good. And we know exactly who is doing all of this and who has done it. These are all these European nations, all these enslavers. Go ahead and get on Google and pull them all up. France, Belgium, Germany, Spain, Portugal, the whole nine. They're all European nations. They run together, they rock together. They know not the Most High. And everything that they do is anti-Yah, anti-God and his people. And so therefore, when you come against the Most High and you've enslaved and murdered the Most High's people, your end is your destruction. Unless you are to turn back and be healed. So there is yet hope for those of the heathen who will turn and do that which is right. And there is yet hope for the children of Israel who will turn and do that which is right. But should you not turn, whether you be of the house of Israel or of the stranger that is not of a contrite spirit, you will certainly be removed from the earth. So the choice is really, really simple. Turn to the commandments and live. Don't and die. Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. We no longer have to ask the question, is this the man that caused the earth to tremble? Is this the man that has bombed the earth, caused the earth to shake, put the animals in fear, burnt down the trees, burnt down the forest, poisoned the water, creating all this nuclear waste and weaponry? And the same man that's going to do all of these things and literally destroying the earth is going to tell you about climate change and how to preserve the earth. This man is contrary in all his ways. This is the type of man that will slash your throat and while you're bleeding, bring you a towel and say, here, this will help you. So he's trying to play both sides of the coin. He's going to destroy you and then act like he's trying to help you. He's destroying the earth, but yet he's going to act as if he is an advocate for protecting animals and doing all of this. You're killing them. You're killing them. And as we start to shine the light on this man, all the families of the earth are going to look at this man and say, yeah, it's you. Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. I hope everyone is having a happy Sabbath. Blowing of the trumpets, it's a blessing that the Most High has delivered us from the last blowing of the trumpets onto this blowing of trumpets. We are in good health, we are in good strength, and more each day, the Most High is revealing his truth onto us. He's causing us to be awakened. We're being shaken from the dust. Ezekiel chapter 37, we're standing up in our lot, the entire house of Israel, in righteousness. Once again, peace, Israel, and Yah bless, and peace to the stranger that is of a contrite spirit that will take a hold of the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. We are no longer in darkness. The light is shining. The Most High has shined his light upon us, and his glory shall be seen upon us. There is no Israeli out here teaching the people of the earth that they are to return to the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. There is none doing it. There will never be one that's doing it because they were not ordained to do it. The children of Israel, we are to do it. And that is why when you pull up men teaching this law, they will look like me. Peace, Israel, and Yah bless.